Hey guys, it's Alana, and welcome back for another episode of Seeing Other People. All right, guys, today's episode is genuinely awesome, and I'm so excited about it. I am bringing on Jordan and Zac Stenmark, who are twins, who are successful businessmen. They are fashion models. They are identical twins, I should add. And they are so successful and so genuinely great and insightful. And we're going to talk all about the business they've built and how they've dated throughout building that business and traveling the world while doing it. We're also going to talk about what it's like to date as twins and the different things that might be super unique experiences that we might not, those of us who aren't twins, might not be all too familiar with. And we're going to talk about sleep and mental health and how all of that goes into your dating life, and also just common misconceptions about dating for guys and for guys who are maybe just like really attractive and hot and successful and have tons of followers, because I know we always look at those people and think, wow, like it must be so easy for them. And while Jordan and Zac do fit into all of that criteria, they haven't had the easiest dating lives, and they have their own struggles, and they both are currently single. And so it's not always what it seems. And it's so easy to look at somebody on Instagram and be like, wow, they have the perfect life. They're accomplished, they're attractive, they've done everything. And I'm sure dating is so easy for them, but everyone struggles. And I think it's really important to kind of remind ourselves of that. We're all people trying to find that one person out there that really is the person to be a partner for us. And so I'm super excited for everyone to hear this conversation and to hear about the company that they built, which is Dreamers, which you'll hear all about in the episode. And yeah, so let's bring in Jordan and Zac, or Zac and Jordan. We'll see. And now we are here with Zac and Jordan. Welcome to the Seeing Other People family.
Thank you so much. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Really good.
Great.
Zac, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm obviously Zac. Well, although we look pretty similar. So
Well, I wore the hat for a reason. Make sure.
Yeah, and facial hair. Jordan, Jordan's got facial hair. Unless they're listening, in that case, then it doesn't really matter. We'll just sound
but if
really
you are listening and you want to get a little visual to help you differentiate the two, head to YouTube, Seeing Other People, and watch the video, and then you can go back to Spotify, Apple, wherever you're at.
Exactly. And they do say beards give you a stronger voice. You grow a beard, it's deeper. So hopefully people can hear that. That's, or at least that's what I tell myself. So
whatever helps you sleep at night.
Yeah.
Well, we know something.
You know what helps us sleep at night. But we'll probably get to that. Anyway, brief intro. I'm Zac, the older twin by 8 minutes.
Wow.
Which is something I hold very dearly. But yeah, we are basically like fashion models or in TV, and we do a bunch of things in the entertainment industry. And we also own a company called Dreamers, which is a sleep company that has globally patent published technology that helps you fall to sleep and stay asleep. And that was what I was sort of alluding to before with the sleep help.
And I am Jordan, Zac's 8-minute younger brother. And Zac pretty much stole my intro. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm super excited to have you guys here. And, ooh, I love the twin tension that's going on here. I'm excited to see what unfolds. But I'm super pumped to have you guys here. You guys are both incredibly successful and just really like great examples of people who have done a lot, but also at the end of the day, you are normal people. And as normal people, one of the things that you do in your life is date. And so there's a lot that we're going to cover in this episode about, first of all, tying back to Dreamers and the company that you guys have built to help people actually sleep and live a healthy, balanced, lifestyle. Of course, sleep and how we feel affects our dating life. But as really successful people and fashion models and businessmen, you also travel the world, which is very exciting. And of course, we would love to hear about dating in different places. And I'm also excited to hear about what it's like to date as twins. So I actually would like to start there because I think that will set the stage very nicely for everything else. And for everyone who is listening, note that they look very similar. Are you guys technically identical twins?
Yeah, so we are identical twins. I mean, just for everyone's sort of reference of what identical twins are, it's literally you come from one egg and one sperm that's split, right? As opposed to fraternal twins, which are like two eggs, two sperm. So we're genetically identical, which is it's pretty cool. I feel blessed.
I love the little biology lesson that we got.
We get the funny questions about the identical. People. I think people love the game of identical twins, and I think that it's a funny. It's definitely. I'm interested to hear what questions you have for us when it comes to being identical twins and dating.
Well, I think the first obvious question is like, has somebody ever mixed you two up and like thought they were talking to one and then the other, or like accidentally like hooked up with the wrong one? Like, has anything like that ever happened or almost happened? I see some smirks and smiles.
Yeah, so I have a pretty good story about that. So Zac was in a relationship and I was single at the time, and I just started seeing this girl, and the girl that Zac was seeing's friend or family friend was like, "Oh, I saw Zac and he was with another girl and he's cheating. I swear he's cheating. He was with this other girl. It was crazy. He like kissed her and, really touching her." And then the family goes, "Zac's a twin, you idiot." Like it's not Zac. Zac was there that day. And she's like, "What? Zac's a twin? Oh, okay, that makes so much more sense." But obviously this girl's like freaking out, thinking that Zac's cheating and all that kind of stuff. So that's one very tame story. But
she told me afterwards as well. She was like, "I was going to come and like confront you and and then I just didn't know what to do." And I was like, "Well, I'm really glad you did, because Jordan would not have had any idea who you were or what was going on."
That's so funny. I feel like I don't even know what I would do in that situation if I thought that one was the other and that was happening. That's such a mind fuck.
Seriously. And like, I think the funny thing about like the funniest part is because, some twins are like do everything together. Zac and I obviously have like we live together around the world and we work together, but at the same time we try and live individual lives that, because we're individuals as much as we are twins. And just things like even, someone might have, like Zac might have met someone or I meet someone and when we're out and then someone will come, "Hey," like a girl might come, "Hey, no, good to see you again." And I'll be going, "Yeah, good to see you too. Like, so how's things been?" And that whole
oh my God, you're like, I have no idea who this person is.
Not at all, but they know me so well because they've seen me a week ago in their mind, and they've had this great night hanging out with Zac and their friends and all that kind of stuff. And then you're trying to go, "Have I ever met this person before?" And you never have. And they get really upset, and you have to make this split-second decision where you go, "They've just called me," like after they might go in, they go, "Zac," and you go, "Okay, now I need to make this decision if they've met Zac and I together or if they just met Zac, and I need to go, okay, yeah, I'm Zac right now and I just have to admit to this," or I go, "I'm really sorry, I'm Jordan," blah, blah, and they go, "What? Who's Jordan?" And then you get the conversation, blah, blah, blah. But you don't want to make people feel awkward and stuff like that. So it is a very funny situation.
Yeah, that's hilarious. How do you decide? Like, am I just going to go with it and pretend I'm Zac in the moment? Or is this going to be like a long, drawn out conversation where I have to really like say who I am? Like, how do you decide that?
Yeah, well, it's a pretty tough one. It's a very split-second decision. It's a very educated guess. Like, there was a time where I went on a job with this girl, and then I had a subsequent job like 2 months later, and this girl came up to me and was like, so the girl we had like obviously on set, we're just mates on set, friends, whatever, and then she's seen Zac in this suburb in Manly, this suburb called Manly in Sydney, and come running up to Zac and going, "Hey, Jordan, good to see you," blah, blah, blah. And then Zac goes, "No, like
No.
not in a rude way, but Zach was like, no, I'm Zach.
No.
And she goes, no, you're not, you're Jordan. I worked with you like 2 weeks ago. No, I'm Zach. And she
Oh
just
my God.
couldn't understand this. Anyway, so she comes sees me again on set when we work together, and she goes, what, like, I saw you too. I was like, didn't I tell you that I'm a twin? And so, like, in making that decision, you have to, I think the biggest thing is, one, like, how's that person going to feel? Two, how awkward is it going to be? And three, are you going to see that person again?
Yeah, that makes sense. Has a girl ever come up to one of you and has someone ever kissed the wrong guy?
So it's really interesting because the we've in the past always gone for like different girls, like not
Okay.
and then it's sort of just like worked out the way, I don't know, that way that we've never had like that full interaction where someone's just gone hey and like kiss the other person. Maybe it's because we have also like relatively different personalities, and so when people start to get to know us, they see this like quite clear difference because we have like some sort of like, I guess, yin and yang parts to our personality, which I think just happens with being twins. I definitely think like there's been some funny circumstances where like a girlfriend has like from behind gone, oh, like Jordan, and then grabbed, you know, the other one and then being like, oh, no, that's Zach. It's okay. Like, and it was just like out of like instinct or whatever, but it's never been anything like, oh, I accidentally kissed the wrong twin.
That's funny. Okay. I'm glad to hear it. I know this is really embarrassing, but like my freshman year of college, I was super drunk at a concert and I literally kissed the wrong guy. Like I thought he was like to the right of me. So I turned to the right of me and like started making out with him and he was on the left side of me. And I was like, holy shit.
That's amazing.
So the fact that this happened to me but not to you guys is really a plot twist. But we're gonna move on from that now. That's really interesting and exciting to hear. I think that you guys have different types based on your different personalities, because I think sometimes if somebody, let's say, finds out like, oh, there are two twins, which one are you going to like go for or whatever. It's like, you guys are really different people at the end of the day. And so I think that that's something that people need to kind of like remember when it comes to twins or siblings in general, is that like, just because people look the same does not mean they're the same. And so I think that's great that you have different types and go for different types of people. And I'm sure once people realize like each of your personalities, it makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, like I mesh with this one and not that one, or vice versa.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is this is the first time since we were like, I don't know, maybe like 15 or 16 that we've both been single at the same time.
What's that been like?
Zach, what do you reckon?
I mean, look, I think it's been good. It's sort of funny. Like we have like we kind of have like these unwritten rules that go with like the whole scenario. Like in terms of like people always like, oh, do you compete over different girls? Even like if there's a girl that you both think is cool, and it's sort of like, I don't know, that we have this like twin unwritten communication. It's like, oh, if that person, you know, if you met that person first or whoever had that like conversation or whatever, or first, then it's like I would instantly, if it was Jordan and he was talking to like this girl and I was like, oh, she's cool, whatever, but I instantly go like friend. Like it's like this very like hard line that's drawn, and it's just like all switches off sort of thing.
And
It's
the weirdest part is that we've never spoken about like
we've never had that conversation.
It's not like, okay, you know, learn to switch off or whatever. It's just not a thing. Like I don't know how, I don't know where we learned this or what conversation we had. Maybe it was like in the womb we were like talking about our futures and planning it out. And rule number 15 was, you know, if I like someone, you can't. So switch it, you know, learn to switch off in the next 2 months until we're born or whatever.
I mean, it's great that you guys did that. I wish that's something that like every friend group could, or like every set of best friends could kind of like channel and just understand, because I think that can get in the way of a lot of friendships. I mean, I know even just thinking about when I was single and some of my friends when they were single, like being out at a bar and seeing a guy who was like all of our types, and suddenly it's like a race to see who can talk to them first, or who's gonna like bring like get to them and have them ask for our number and stuff. And it definitely can get competitive, but I mean, that's really awesome that it hasn't for you guys. I think that's really something to be like proud of.
I think it's interesting as well, because like we like I would in any of those circumstances, I'm like, okay, how do I wingman the shit out of it? Like, what do I do here? Like, let's, you know, like now it's like the team, like we're gonna work together to make this happen, or like, you know, it's pretty funny like that. So
yeah, I like that a lot. Have you guys ever experienced like where you don't like one of the other's partners? And if so, like, have you expressed that, or what's that been like? Or do you like really try and see the positives and like them?
Definitely try and see the positives in them, and if there's something that we don't feel is right or whatever, we both definitely speak up, because at the end of the day, for us, it's all about honest communication, like between us. It's like every relationship, whether it's romantic or sibling or whatever, everyone needs to communicate. And like, you know, we've been together in this for literally 29 years, and you know, we say, hey, like I'll say to him, hey, I support whatever your decision is, but you know, I don't like how this might be about this person. And then, you know, it's a really open conversation. It's not like, I don't think you should be with this person. It's like, here are just some concerns I have, you know, because at the end of the day, I trust his judgment. So I think like he's not going to make a really like, even though, you know, we all make crazy choices. I know I've made heaps of really dumb decisions in the matter of relationships and love, but I've always trusted like my family and Jordan to give me really solid advice. So I think we have that sort of thing of like, yeah, just like really open and honest, because otherwise, like, if I can't trust them to tell me a really honest piece of information about someone, because we do get a little bit clouded, right? We're like, oh, this person's amazing, and they're, you know, I'm really attracted to them, and you know, we have so much fun, and you might get blindsided at something. So for me, I'm like always really stoked with like, I want the honest truth from them. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so important. And like you said, like we end up having those rose-colored glasses on when we're into someone, and we can't see past those things that might actually not be good for us and might make them not like a compatible person and partner. So that's really great that you guys have that open communication. And that's something that, similarly to the knowing to not like step on each other's toes when it comes to who you're into, like I think that's something that like every like family member and friend should strive to do, and just be open and honest with each other about that. It's really important.
well, I think
I want to get into how, oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, I think at the end of the day, it's also like where you weight those relationships, right? Like for me, the time, the honesty, the loyalty, all that sort of stuff between us means that no matter how excited I am about this specific person, I don't have that, like, you know, like I don't know all this stuff about them. I don't have all these previous experiences to go off. So it's like, who am I going to trust, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I am loving this episode almost as much as I'm loving our focus on our focus month. This month is October, and Mindset Wellness and I teamed up to make sure that you guys feel your most focused selves. I know in the heat, we're like in the heat, the heart. I don't know why I said the heat. We're in the heart of fall, and the hype summer is over, but winter's coming, and we're deep into cuffing season now. And we're trying to focus on ourselves. We're trying to focus on work. We're trying to focus on our dating lives. And something that is really helpful, of course, is Mindset Wellness Focus Gummies. I know I've said it many times before, but I truly would not be able to do this podcast and be a freelancer without them. And I just think it's a really great tool that we have at our fingertips, that we could take the focus gummies or take the focus drops and really just zone into what we need to get done. And then kind of come out of that and be like, okay, I had a really accomplished day. I can go out and enjoy myself tonight. I can go on a date. I can go hang out with friends, and it's just really great. So definitely check them out, mindsetwellness.com, and grab your focus gummies. Use code Seeing Other People for 10% off and free shipping. So I want to get into Dreamers and how you guys ended up starting a company that helps people sleep better so that they can live better lives. Because I know for me, when I am stressed or anxious, the first thing to go is my sleep. And that also comes with the fact that like everything I do is staring at a screen. I work staring at a screen, especially during quarantine when we started having big, literally being quarantined and not going into offices and stuff. Every single thing we do is on a screen. And we also date on a screen. And I know sometimes I'll be sitting, like I would be sitting in my bed just swiping endlessly on dating apps, and then I wouldn't be able to go to sleep after that. And so for me, and then it forms a cycle where once you're stressed and or feeling burnt out or anything like that, you can't sleep, and then you feel worse the next day, and it just keeps going. So anything that is done to kind of like mitigate that and make it a better situation, like a healthier lifestyle, is really important to me. So I'd love to hear about how you guys got involved in that, and how you created Dreamers and how that's benefited your lives and maybe even your dating lives.
Zac, you want to go? You start, and I'll jump in.
Yeah, so I guess the development of Dreamers really it was over like it started sort of 5-6 years ago. We were traveling all around the world. You know, we were living in New York or between Sydney and New York a lot, doing like flying between all these different places, having to get up really early to be on set and finishing really late. And we're starting to see this correlation between a lack of sleep and our health. And so we were, I guess, looking at it and going, okay, sleep is one of the most fundamental pillars of health. And we from the research and all understand that it is the ground at which we start, and then from there you can build on more stuff about diet and exercise and all that sort of stuff. But if you're not sleeping at all the exercise and diet in the world is not going to fix that. So we took a really deep dive into trying to understand sleep. I really enjoy, and so does Jordan, reading medical journals and peer-reviewed studies. And because I really want to educate myself, empower myself with the knowledge to be able to actually help. So I also lean on some great friends. Our chief scientist, Stafford Sheehan, and Dr. Andrew Huberman from Stanford, and to also like have very informed, sources and knowledge about this sort of stuff. So yeah, we went down this path of really trying to learn about it and understood that light, specifically blue and green light, have a massive impact on the body's ability to produce the sleep hormone melatonin. And that artificial light from these screens, computers, LEDs, phones, all that sort of stuff, is that it produced this blue and green light that stops you from producing these sleep hormones. Because if we go back and we think about before we had all this stuff, 50,000 years ago, humans adapted to rise and fall with the sun. So in the morning, we would get the alertness hormone cortisol, and it would keep us awake and allow us to do all these great things during the day, promote digestion, be alert and focused, and those sorts of things. But when the sun went down, we would no longer receive this blue and green light from the sun and the full spectrum light. So we wouldn't. It would now allow our bodies to produce the sleep hormone melatonin and stop and lessen the production of the alertness hormone cortisol. So now that we have all these devices, which are fantastic, we can actually we're bringing this light into our lives after dark, therefore stopping the production of these sleep hormones. So that's why we created Dreamers, these lenses that block 99% of this artificial blue and green light, so that your body can naturally produce these sleep hormones and help you fall asleep and stay asleep. So that's the Dreamers sleep glasses. And then we have our screen glasses for during the day that just block blue light, and they're to deal with eye strain, headaches, brain fog, because having this overexposure of too much artificial blue light during the day can have these negative side effects as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with both the sleeping things and the screen glasses, I know even staring at screens all day, there would be some times where I would have such a bad headache after, where like I would have to cancel my plans or like cancel a date, and I'd be like, I don't feel good. And that was happening for so long, especially during the pandemic. So I think these are like an amazing thing that can help people with everything. Like you said, like sleep goes back, it's like the most fundamental human need that allows you to do every single other thing. And like for me, when I'm stressed, I don't sleep. And then when I don't sleep, I get stressed and anxious and like everything else tumbles.
Mm-hmm.
So sleep is like truly the most important thing in terms of like having the ability to be your best self.
And when we're talking about dating, you you want to look good, and sleep helps you there. You want to have like if you reduce the amount of blue light, get better sleep. Don't not fatigued. You want to be in a good mood, and blue and green light affects your mood. So there's that aspect. And then Zac, I know you want to talk about the effects on insulin with blue and green light. So do you want to talk to that for a second? I can see it in your face.
Well, there's also the fact that lack of sleep affects your body's insulin. So basically, you're when you're sleep deprived, you're going to go for quick energy foods like very sugary foods. So the more you sleep, it actually helps regulate these hormones and processes that are relative to weight loss and weight gain. So if you want to, sleep is just such a amazing tool for both detox, for allowing your body to naturally process and metabolize fats as energy. So there's always
essentially, if you want to look hot on your date, and you want to get there, and they're like, wow, the Tinder profile or the Bumble profile or the Hinge profile, they look 10 times better. It's because you had a really nice, great sleep the night before. Your metabolism is going well. The weight loss is happening. The skin's glowing. You've detoxed the night before. I reckon that's So it's the key to dating, really.
It's because you weren't doing what I do every night when it's 3 a.m. and I'm awake staring at the ceiling and I find myself getting up and going to the kitchen to eat double stuffed Oreos every single night.
Yep. Well, the Oreos are vegan. They are vegan, and I'm sure they're lovely at the time. But you just need that. So sometimes you just got to forget about it, fall off to sleep, into dreamland, dreaming about the guy or the girl.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned that you were traveling all over. I definitely am curious what that was like when it came to your dating lives and when it came to either like being in different cities or different countries. Were there places where like it was more ideal to have like a hookup or like just something fun versus places like, is there an ideal place to have a relationship? And also like, did traveling impact your ability to like have relationships because you weren't in one place?
I guess for me, because I've been obviously single longer than Jordan has, it's been a few years now. I think it has its challenges being on the road all the time, in the sense that it is hard, like when you've only got a week with a person or you've only got a day or two to really go, oh, we're going to try and have like an actual relationship, as opposed to just like, like hooking up with a person. And even that, and it's so funny because it can be really trivialized, that whole thing, but at the end of the day, the thing we're all trying to do is like for me anyway, it's about human connection, whether that's human connection for one night or it's for forever or for whatever that is. But like there can be like amazing, really enjoyable connection, whether like even just as friends or whatever, from like a one-time experience, and you have great memories of that. And I think that's really cool. So it's because I think it's like really interesting. But yeah, so to say, I guess it does make it challenging to like forge a much longer term relationship when you're like, oh, I don't know when I'm going to see you again, and that sort of thing. But I also think it just means you also have to put in more effort at the same time. I was seeing a girl at one point, and I was in Australia. We met in Australia, and then we had a couple of weeks together, and then she went back to Europe. I went back to New York, and that just like made it difficult. And you're having this like relationship over like FaceTime, and then it just like, and then you've got to travel to see each other and all that sort of thing, which is obviously also not terrible because then you've got an excuse to go to other places too. So that's kind of fun. So I think it just there's definitely pros and cons to all of it. But it does, I think, at least for me, I found it makes it a little bit harder to like cement something.
I would definitely say that there hasn't been like a city or anything like that that makes it easier or harder, or places. I think I've had long distance relationships, and I think they're always really, really tough on both parties. I think, there's not one part of it that's easy. And it's something that relationships take work. Like, let's just put that on the table. They take work, and it's like about effort, and you really have to be willing to give and be giving to another person. So you need to have that time in your life to do that. If you add long distance on top of that, that's extra giving. That's, you're giving a lot of yourself to that situation. So if you live a chaotic lifestyle where you're already traveling a lot and your schedule's not that normal, it's pretty hard to then maintain something that is, sustainable, and you can actually really, feel like you're sharing a life with someone, because that is the point. So I would say that, like, travel as a whole, if you can travel together with your partner, that's amazing. You have these life experiences, you learn all these amazing things. But yeah, I would say long distance is a no-go in the future. I think it's just so hard. It's just not something that I would suggest people do. It's very rare, especially in today's day and age. But when it regards to dating, I reckon New York's a hard place to date, and I've heard that from a lot of people.
I think it's actually different, Joe. Like, my experience has been like, I think the reason why people say New York is hard to date is because it's quiet. And this is something I really like about it. There's quite a like upfront, like, honesty, like, people are, and everything's sort of like moving and happening, and it comes with the city, right? And I think like people also don't waste people's time, if that makes sense. It's like on or it's off, and that's that. And I think that's kind of nice, like, in the sense that there's not this like always these, well, anyway, my experience is like, it's not this like crazy game of like whatever, which can also be fun, but it's like very like, this is happening or it's not. And that's I kind of like that honesty. It's like, let's not waste anyone's time.
I'm like kind of laughing to myself because that's the complete opposite experience that I've had dating in New York, where
Really?
in my experience and with a lot of people I talk to, it's like people won't be upfront about their intentions at all. And I've been led on so many times and had experiences where I thought like I was fully dating people and then they were like, yeah, I'm not looking for anything. And it's like 4 months in and I've met their family and I'm like, wait a second, what do you mean? And and I've had experiences where like I've been cheated on and like things were just totally the opposite of what they seemed. And part of the reason that I think people say dating is so hard in New York, especially, is because it's like there are unlimited options. And so people almost like don't want to commit to somebody because they think it's like, well, like the next person might be better. Or like, who knows if I get back on the apps one more time or go on a date with one other person, like maybe that next person will be better or hotter or like will be more compatible. And so I feel like that's one of the tough things, but I don't know. I'm jealous of your experience.
Zach's quite an open, honest person. Like he sets his baselines. He goes, "This is what it is." Really early, He sets the intention, and I think it's a really nice, honest way to be. Like, I think, then you can remove hurt. Then at least you know that if you go, "Hey, these are my intentions. This is how I feel. This is what I'm going to do." And because relationships are built on communication, aren't they? Isn't that what we're taught from a really young age? That like the basis of a relationship is communication, and the breakdown of a relationship is a lack of. So
for me, it's like I try and be as honest upfront as where I am at the time. Because what's the point in like I don't want to hurt people. I think it's just like I know what it's like to feel hurt. And it really sucks. And so I would hate to lead someone on when it's just like, oh, this is fun, as opposed to, oh, actually, I'm not sure where this is going, but I'd like to pursue something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And to just put even the intention of I'm actually unsure is better than like not telling someone where you're at, because I think it's like it is a bit mean, like, and like when it's, I guess, matters of the heart or love, or however you want to put it, like we feel, and if you don't feel, then I feel really sad, because like that's the best part of like being human. You feel and you get excited and you get all this stuff. So like I want to be as honest and open as I possibly can with the person, so that at least they know where I'm coming from, and they can go, actually, I'm not cool with this. And then you go, okay, I understand. And then you part ways, or this works for me, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's probably why you've had a better experience than I have, because you are upfront and you are giving the person the opportunity to hear you out and to say like, yeah, that works for me, or no, that doesn't. Because I think a lot of the time it's exactly like you said, Jordan, it's the lack of communication that can tear a relationship apart or make something not work. And I think that definitely is like the biggest problem in modern dating right now, is people don't communicate, and partially because they're afraid to, and partially because they don't know how.
Mm.
And so, I mean, I know for me, sometimes I think I wonder if it's easier maybe for, in like a heterosexual straight situation,
Mm.
like for a guy to be upfront like that. Cause I know I've tried and I've heard back what I've wanted to hear, but then
Mm.
it totally flips. And maybe, yes, like people and then a month or two later don't. But I don't know. I think I've heard situations, or I've been in situations where I've said like what I want, and then they're like, me too. And like, I like hanging out with you. I want to keep going. And then a month or two later, they're like, I'm not looking for anything right now.
The
I
thing
think
that
I think
the thing that I've always maintained across relationships is words are great and it's awesome to hear it, but actions follow that. So like, people vote. I always think of it as people vote with their actions. They show their intentions that way. Like you can say, hey, I really want to see you again, blah, blah. But even in the smallest interactions, how do they message you? How do they
and
how
not to
do they
get
speak to you? Are they enthusiastic? Is this like, are you going days without hearing from them, and then you're doing the reach out, and it's just a bit like, this is not it. And then I think it takes a moment to go, you know what, I respect myself, and I'm not going to be some person chasing this idea of someone that I like. It's I've always wanted to be in something where someone just goes, my mum used to always say to us, you want to be with someone that just thinks, the sun shines from you, or, the world, you are the world, like you're just the most amazing thing in the world. And I think it's something that every person should think. They should go, I can't believe how much this person thinks I'm great. Like the fact that I have so many issues and they don't care. Like
Yeah.
that is the way it should feel. And obviously maybe 40 years into a marriage, or 20 years into a marriage, that might change slightly, but the essence of that is still there. So
I
Yeah.
think
I
as
love
we
that.
and I was just going to say, as Jordan's saying, like, and as we're sort of talking about the honesty thing, be honest with what you're also like getting back in this thing, because from like an action standpoint, because that way you can go, okay, I honestly actually, even though it hurts or it's upsetting, like that action displays to me this, and I'm like, okay, like this sort of behavior, maybe they aren't as interested as they say they are. So, and then you that way, like, I think it's like better to do the hard thing much earlier, whether it is saying what you want up front or cutting it. Because if you misjudge it and you like push away, and they actually want to be a part of it, they'll
Mhm.
come back and say, hey, actually, no, I was serious about this. But if you just like hang on and go, no, 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 I think I can get that person around, whatever, like you're just feeding back into that thing. So I think it's better to make a decision and see what you get back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to quickly go back to one thing that you brought up, Jordan.
Mm,
I really liked how you said chasing after the idea of someone,
mm,
because
mm.
I think that is something that we have all fallen victim to, that we're all guilty of, where we paint such a picture in our heads of like who this person is, and we put them
Mm.
up on a pedestal. And then when they don't text us back, it makes us make that pedestal even higher, and we want them even more. And it's half the time it's really not even about who they are. It's just like it's almost because they're unattainable. And of course that's the whole concept of the chase. But I think
Yeah.
it's really important to like ground yourself and be like, wait a second, like, okay, why am I checking my phone 100 times waiting for this person to text me back? Is it because I actually like care what they have to say and want them to text me back because I like them? Or is it just because I want a text back because they're not texting me back?
Seriously, and it's I for some reason whenever I think about that concept, I think of Jake Peralta in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I
It's
just started watching that show. So this is
so
perfect,
good.
because if we were recording this 3 weeks ago, I would have no idea who you were talking about.
I love Jake. That show, it just got me. It just
Yeah.
Andy Samberg, he got me, and
Yep.
I just and each character. I'll just say this, and we can go back to what we're talking about. Is if you watch it multiple times, which I'm sure you will, and I've literally watched it. I couldn't tell you how many times. And you start off and you're like, yeah, I like Jake as a character, and then the next time you watch it through, you're like, actually, Boyle's pretty funny. I like him. He's good. And then you're like, probably like by the fifth time, you're like, far out, I love Terry.
Yeah.
Terry's so good. Like, it's just, you've somehow like evolved through these characters in your life. Anyway, maybe it's the person you think you're embodying when you watch it, but whatever. And if you're feeling like you're like, oh, I'm a bit hard on myself at the moment. Maybe you're an Amy. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So don't, yeah, anyway. But going back to that, I always think about Jake, and when he's like, there's this, I think it's when he dates Eva Longoria in one of the, in like season 3.
Okay, hold on. I'm on season 1 still. Relax. Don't.
Yeah, you would
Don't
have got
ruin
there.
this
You
for
would have got
me.
there. Yeah, I'm sorry for the spoiler. But so he's checking his phone, and he's just like, I feel so pathetic. I'm checking my phone. And whenever I think of that, I'm like, yeah, like I look at the way that he acts it, and he goes, and it makes him feel like lack of self-worth. And I go kind of like, no. When I feel that way, or when one feels that way, you're worth so much more than that. Why would you let someone control your happiness? Like, that chase is you're giving the power to someone else to make your day or not. And like, that's not their role in your life or their job, or they haven't even earned that level of respect or level of power over you yet. Like, someone that you've dated for years and they've proven, and you trust them, and you go, I'm going to trust you with my power. And that sounds a bit crazy, but and that power to make me happy or not, then, if you're just seeing someone and then they're not showing the care with their actions, and that is texting you back or ignoring you or making you feel powerless in the situation, that's not fair. And like, this power dynamic in relationships can be really tough. And I think it's really important for people to go, you know what, I'm not putting this person on a pedestal. I'm seeing them for who they are, but also myself, and being really present in who you are and what your shortcomings are. Then going, you know what, like, I'm not giving them that power. Like, they can text me when they want, and if they don't, as I said before, they're showing you exactly their actions, and you go, that's cool. I'm going to change my focus, because why would I ever want to be with someone that doesn't want to be with me?
Absolutely. And yeah, you, like you said, you want somebody who thinks the world of you and thinks like the sun shines from you, even though you're like, wait, but there's so many things wrong with me. Even one of my best friends, Sarah, who was on a previous episode of Seeing Other People, she just got into a relationship with somebody, and she was kind of venting to me about how he says all of these incredible things about her, and like says like how like every freckle on her face is perfect, and like all these things about her that she thinks are weird. He's like, I love this about you, and this is incredible and so special. And she's like, I don't understand, like, why does he like me this much? I'm like, because he should. Like, that's how much I like you. Like, maybe I don't want to kiss your face, but I think all of these like weird things about you are amazing, and that makes you who you are. And like, yeah, it should be like that when it is somebody, and it shouldn't be like like all of this like anxiety and your stomach in knots over when are they going to text you back, and oh, they waited an hour, so now I'm going to wait 2 hours. Like, it shouldn't be like that.
It's stupid. And like you'll be able to see it in someone's eyes. Like you can see when someone, like I'm sure this guy looking at her freckles is just going like we've all felt that feeling, and I describe it as like, and one of my exes used to call it cute aggression. And it's that thing of like when you see something that you're like so like you just like I just want to squeeze it. I'm just gonna squash it into a ball. That kind of thing. Like it's like an explosion or an implosion of like I can't deal with this emotional feeling, and you can see that in someone's face. And that again is an action. Like if someone's saying, "Oh, I love you and I think you're amazing," and that's great, but the fact that this guy is obviously going like, "Oh, this freckle and this freckle and this freckle," like you just kind of go, "Wow!" Like that is so amazing, and be ready to feel that kind of emotion or affection from someone.
I think that sort of comes from as well this thing of like, you know, when you feel like I this is for me anyway, when you feel that someone actually sees you as a person, that is where that like thing of like being you, like you adore a person, when you both actually like see the person for who they are, and you're like, this is awesome. Like I love all these things about you, all the different intricacies. So I think that's like it's that's where that thing comes from. And he obviously, like, maybe he does feel really like open and just like free with her, and that's where that sort of pardon me comes from, like the ability to be vulnerable, maybe.
Yeah, without a doubt. I totally agree. Look, we're deep into cuffing season now. We are truly in the heart of cuffing season. It is October. It is 2021. And if you're listening to this after October, it's okay. It's still time to get cuffed and to find somebody great. And truly, an amazing way to do that is by focusing on what's important to you and what matters, and trying to figure out what you value and what you want in a partner versus what things are kind of nice to haves but not necessary. And it's also important to feel like you're focused on work and to feel like you have everything under control and are your best self in this moment, so that you can end up feeling good and going out on dates and being great. And there's some great things that we can do to feel focused. Maybe it's going on a walk in the morning. Maybe it is listening to music right before you start working or before you go on a date to get yourself in the zone. I think those are really great things. And of course, taking Mindset Wellness CBD's focus gummies is my favorite thing to do to focus on whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish, whether it is banging out 3 recordings in one day, like I did today, or if it's just really focusing on getting in the right mindset for a date or for something that I'm doing that I'm excited for. So definitely head to mindsetwellness.com, grab your focus gummies, grab whatever gummies excite you on their website, and also just enjoy the episode. Focus on this episode. That's what you need to do right now, because this episode is a great one. Let's get back to it. One thing I want to quickly bring up is, obviously, you guys are both super successful, super attractive. Again, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you should go look. Like, you guys are like, I mean, it seems like you have it all. And I know sometimes we look at people like us normal folk, look at people like that. And it's like, wow, like dating must be so easy for them. Like they have it all together. Like you guys have like a few 100,000 followers, like you can just slide into anyone's DMs, and like, because of how you look and your jobs and everything, like it will just work out. And I know you mentioned like you're both single, and I'm just really curious to hear if there's any truth to that, or like what dating actually is like. And like, I can imagine that it's not like the way that we think it is sometimes.
I think
obviously there's some dark secret because we're both single now. So
I would say, look, I think like dating is always hard in the sense that, because you're trying to find someone that, you know, you feel that connection with and that sort of thing. And so meeting the right person is never going to be easy. And like, if it's easy, I always think about these things sometimes. If it's too easy, is it going to be, you know, the right thing? But maybe it will be. But I think Yeah, like for me, it's like trying to meet someone who understands like where I'm at in life and how I think about things and all that sort of stuff. Because like, you can be super attracted to a person and all that sort of stuff, but you're just like from a personality and connectivity and stage of life perspective, it's not quite there. And I've had that before. I've also had like where you've got a friend who you're just like, oh, they're the best, but I don't have that like chemistry with. So trying to find those things that align, that I think is the challenge. And obviously with throughout this time, meeting people has been even harder because like where I'm so used to being able to be in all these different places and meet people from different cities and that sort of thing. And I really love the thing of being able to like walk up to someone and say, hey, like just a very like sort
Because
of
we're not dating apps kind of people. I think, like definitely for me, I'd rather an interaction in person. That is like the way that,
I mean, nobody wants to be a dating app
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
person.
yeah, yeah. No, I know that, but I mean, dating apps work for some people, and they really enjoy that process of getting to know someone slowly, or just texting and then
Mhm.
feeling it out, and they go through having lots of different conversations at once, and that's what I meant by that, not by the. For me, I'd rather the thrill of walking up to someone that I don't know, or someone that I don't like someone I don't know but like, and I'm going, I don't know how this is going to go. Like I'm gonna stand there and I'm gonna say, and they might have a boyfriend. And I'm gonna be completely shut down, and I'm gonna be like, oh, that kind of sucked. But at least
that
I learned
happened to
something
me
from
as
it.
well. That totally like it's happened to me a few times. Even I was like at this thing and I look, I won't add too much context, but it was pretty funny. I was with a friend and we were like at this event, and basically I walked up to this person and I was like, hey, blah blah blah, just chatting, and then um their like boyfriend came over and they're like, oh, like what's going on? They're like, oh yeah, no, just met this new like friend, and I was like, yep, it's all good. Like I wasn't doing anything untoward, I swear. Because I had no idea. So I was just like, oh, okay, yeah. Now we're friends. It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think I would say that the hardest part, or I think, regardless of like what you do for a job, or like I don't know. I guess we've never, Zach and I, as much as we work in the fashion industry and all that kind of stuff, and models. I just don't think that comes into dating in the end. Like I think, looks play a big part for lots of people, but I think, as Zach was saying before, it's very much around human connection, and trying to connect with someone, and finding that thing. Because my dad's always said, like, at the end of the day, they need to be your best friend. You need to be able to spend, the rest of your lives together, and be in it for the hard parts, because looks, jobs, money, whatever it is, like when the going gets tough, you need someone that's going to be in your corner with you, and you're going to be out, and you're going to hunker down. You're going to make things work. Like, I've never had kids, but I've heard having kids is tough. So, as well with keeping a job and doing all that kind of stuff, the world has enough pressures. You got to find your teammate that you want to start this team together and go through the toughest parts of life. And I think that in itself is one of the toughest tasks that we set out to do. But a lot of the time we don't treat it in the same way. So I think, giving it its worth of a situation, and finding that person that you really, really think is going to be your team member that you can move forward with is something that is hard to do, no matter what situation, what you do for a job, anything like that. So anyone who is out there that's been able to find those team members, I take my hat off to you, because it is very, very tough, and it's how exciting is that? So yeah, to very long-winded way of saying it's difficult. It is really hard to find great people, but they are out there. There's 7-8 billion people on the earth, and half of them are women. So there's some pretty good odds in there. There's some pretty good odds.
I
They're
think
out
it's
there somewhere.
Yeah,
when
just gotta find them.
I was just going to say, we are obviously lucky in the sense that we do get to meet a lot of people and like-minded people. And, I think that is one real benefit of our job, is the sense that we get to go to a lot of events and there's a lot of different scenarios we get to, I guess, be placed in and that sort of thing. So there is definitely that benefit that I guess not as many people get from that scenario. Because it is a bit of more of an odd scenario in the sense that in different countries all the time and meeting different people and that sort of thing. But I think, yeah, as Jordan's just been saying, it definitely it still comes down to connection at the end of the day.
Yeah. Plus, you could end up meeting somebody in a different country and then end up having to do long distance and it not work out. So goes back to that.
And you have to.
Actually, it's a consideration. Sorry, Jordan. It's a consideration. Where do you want to end up and that sort of thing, and because they're all things that I definitely think about. Am I going to want to end up in Australia, and therefore how does that work? How does if I meet someone in New York or in London or whatever, are we going to be doing this back and forth thing? You got to choose a place, all that sort of stuff. Those are things that I'm always trying to think about, and you want to be considerate of as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all of that was beautifully said, and I really appreciate you guys being so open and honest and real with me. I also love all of the little bits of advice from your parents. Maybe I should have them on an episode because they seem like they know what they're doing. But I'm so appreciative of you guys being here. Where can everyone find you? Where can everyone find Dreamers? And anything else you want to plug?
Jordan?
Well, you can find Zac and I at Jordan and Zac. Look, Zac is the older twin, but for some reason I got the first part of the Instagram handle, so go me. And then to find Dreamers, you can go to dreamers.company or dreamers underscore dreamers on Instagram. And check out Dreamers. If you want to hear some more crazy adventures from Zac and I, you can follow us on Instagram.
And write to us as well. We love to chat with people and stuff. It's really fun. We've got to meet really interesting people that we've actually never met in person and have those sorts of connections, which have been really cool. And one actually, I was going to actually tell you before, and just because it came to mind talking about Dreamers, it was funny when we a funny part of creating Dreamers was also when I would be dating people or whatever, I would when we had prototypes of the first glasses, be wearing these things either at the end of a date or whatever, or into seeing something, and they're like, why are you wearing glasses at night? What's going on? And then they'd get really involved, and all of a sudden we're hanging out in the Dreamers, and they're like, wow, these things are it was so funny. It was like a fun part of the whole experience, people getting inside my ritual of wearing these glasses an hour before bed or whatever. So it was,
and having people come over to the house or whatever and be like, hey, can I wear the Dreamers tonight or whatever? So it's it's pretty cool. It's cool to be a part of that. So yeah,
I love that. That's awesome. Well, you guys I'll link everything, and of course I'll link everything on Instagram, so you could also end up having Dreamers at your house or apartment and then just get people to come over to use them. It's great.
Yeah.
They're their own wingman for you.
Yeah.
Love it.
But is it a good thing if you put people to sleep? Is that a good thing? Is it a good thing on a date if you put someone to sleep?
I mean, you know what? If I was on a date and I end up having a good night's sleep and literally just crash at the person's apartment and actually sleep, I'd wake up and be like, this is amazing. I'm coming back.
Because that is such a thing. You're like, oh no, I'm not going to sleep. It's different environment, whatever. A huge win is wow, I was so comfortable in that sleep. Maybe this person
1,000%.
Yeah. So maybe it's it's a convincing tool. I'll wear the Dreamers and you'll have a great sleep, and then we've got an even stronger bond.
I love it. Dreamers, the wingman of 2021. Let's go.
Yeah, love it.
All right, thank you both. Thank you. And to everyone listening, thank you. Don't forget to give a 5-star rating. Follow Jordan and Zac. Follow _dreamers. And tune in next time.